Hey guys, today I want to talk about one of my favorite supports, Fischl, and go over what I believe to be the best build for her currently in the game and why you should be running her in your teams. Hope you enjoy. So firstly, Fischl is an incredibly strong electro based support that has abilities that can stay on the field without her being there, and can provide not only damage but also reactions, which make her extremely good with characters who need to stay on the field for long periods of time in order to do damage, like Razor for example. Secondly, while Electro is a little bit weaker than the other elements in terms of the reactions it offers, does in fact have access to the superconduct reaction, which is a godsend for physical damage dealers like the new character Eula. Also, with the rumored electro buffs coming soon, these could quickly turn into some of the best reactions in the game. And so, if any of this sounds interesting, then please listen on as I'll tell you how to build her to maximize her potential. So, there are many bows in the game, however I will focus on the bows that I believe to be the best when using Fischl as a support based character. So first up we have the Stringless. This bow is by far the best in slot currently in the game for support Fischl, as it provides a good amount of elemental mastery, which can help any reaction that Oz procs to do a ton more damage. It has a decent amount of attack, not as good as the 5-star weapons obviously, however because we are building her as a support character, it's okay to sacrifice the attack for the passive effect. And speaking of the passive effect, the passive increases the damage of her elemental skill and burst by 24%. Which is amazing, as the only thing we really do on support Fischl is to get Oz out on the field and try to make sure he is out all throughout the fight to maximize his damage. And so anything to help out this damage is much appreciated, and note that this is a damage modifier, meaning that it will be added on after all the resistance stuff is calculated, meaning we get the most bang for our buck with this passive. Secondly, we have the Favonius Bow, another 4-star weapon. Now this weapon is nowhere near as good as the Stringless, and I wouldn't recommend it unless you don't have the Stringless yet, then it can be okay. It provides energy recharge, which on Fischl isn't that good, as she never really has any problems with energy, as she already has Oz who provides a ton of energy. Its passive effect is again just okay, with each critical hit providing some energy, which might be okay if your main DPS is having trouble getting their burst, but otherwise it's just not as good as the Stringless. Now, there are quite a few 5-star bows, however none of them are really good for support Fischl. However, if you don't have the Stringless, then they could be alright. The best one of the bunch is the Skyward Harp, which helps a lot as it provides a good boost in crit damage and a nice passive, all of which Oz can take advantage of, as he can crit and also proc the passive. But all in all, I would at least for support Fischl focus on getting the Stringless. It hasn't appeared in a featured weapon in the banner for quite some time, and so hopefully will be coming soon. Next up we have artifacts. There are many different artifacts that you can use on Fischl, however a few stand out. Let's go over the best artifacts to use on support Fischl, the 2-piece Thundering Fury and the 2-piece Gladiator set. So the 2-piece Thundering Fury provides a 15% electro damage increase, which is huge on Fischl as she will only be doing electric damage with Oz. Now the 4-piece set, it sounds alright, however in practice it often doesn't do too well, as you won't be triggering enough reactions for it to be worth running. Also, the second part of it, reduce the elemental skill CD, won't work if Fischl is off field, which as this is a support / sub DPS build, she often will be out of the field. So for these reasons, it's usually recommended to only run 2 pieces of this set to get the electro damage bonus. Next we have 2 pieces of the Gladiator set, which provides us with 18% attack bonus, which will be huge as Oz does scale off Fischl's attack, and so the more attack we can get, the better Oz's damage will be. Now there are a few other artifacts I want to talk about. Often during mid to late game you'll often see people running a 2 Thundering Fury with 2 pieces Gambler set. This is okay as Gambler does provide a nice 20% increase in elemental skill damage, which is amazing. However, the main drawback to this is the Gambler set is only a 4-star set, and so does get outclassed by the 5-star artifacts as you progress towards the late game. And so to summarize, I recommend you run the 2 pieces Thundering Fury and Gamblers until you can get the 2 pieces Thundering Fury and the 2 pieces Gladiator set with decent substat rolls, And speaking of substat roles, let's move on to the recommended substats of the artifacts. So firstly, as we are building Fischl as a support / sub DPS, we are mainly going to be going for the stats that improve Oz's attack, which will help Fischl do a lot of damage, even while she is off field. And so the stats we want to be focusing on is firstly crit rate / damage, as Oz can in fact crit, and so this is definitely the most important stat. Second stat is attack percentage. Again, Oz does scale off Fischl's attack, so any boost to this is a boost in Oz's damage. Finally, for the last stat, flat attack is really good, otherwise elemental mastery or energy recharge will do just fine. For the actual artifacts, you want an attack percentage sands, an electro damage cup, and a crit rate or crit damage circlet, depending on what you need more, aiming for a 1:2 ratio of crit rate to crit damage. Next up, let's take a look at her talents and constellations. So for talents, we won't be auto attacking with her, so don't focus too much on this unless you're interested in running her as your main DPS. And so the main talent you want to be leveling up is her elemental skill, as it is the ability you'll be using the most. Secondly, her elemental burst is pretty good and should be the second talent you want to level. Moving on to constellations, she definitely doesn't need them, however they do help quite a bit, especially C6, which really elevates Fischl to another level, giving a huge damage increase to anyone on the field with Oz, as well as extending duration of Oz by 2 seconds. I definitely recommend going for this constellation if you are near it, even if you're going to be running her as your main DPS, as this constellation is amazing. Finally, I want to talk about some of the teams you can put her into and why she is so good in them. First up is my bread and butter Razor comp that I've been running since I started playing this game, and the same one I mentioned in my previous video, and that is Razor, Fischl, Diona and Shinshu. Now, Fischl does really well in this comp, and that's because not only does she allow the team to get the electric resonance bonus, but also she provides a ton of energy for Razor and can proc the superconduct reaction with Diona, which is perfect for a physical damage dealer like Razor. Speaking of physical damage dealers, another party she fits right into is a Rosaria party with Rosaria Fischl and 2 other party members, perhaps 2 pyro characters like Xinling and Bennett. This party does amazing with Fischl, as unlike the first party in which you are relying on Diona for the reactions, this party as Rosaria is already a cryo character. You can just summon Oz and pump out those reactions, which is amazing. And so, all in all, Fischl is a great electro character that can make a big impact on any team that she's put into, especially cryo-based teams, with her amazing off-field abilities that can not only do a ton of damage, but provide amazing reactions such as superconduct. With Inazuma coming soon and the rumored electro buffs, I expect Fischl to become one of the top supports in the game in the coming months. So, I hope you enjoyed, and see you next time.